important, good-looking games are just like anime stuff.
Yeah, they have not had the third-party support that I wish they could. But
so I can almost, because like when you look at when you see my library of PlayStation video games for PlayStation TV, it's all going to be like anime ecchi games, like because that's all the good shit they have.
But those also are a lot of fun.
They are. That's why I told you those are the. But that's why I said those are the ones I'm looking forward to.
Right.
I mean, there's some other games that are compatible like those, but those are like not important.
Exactly. Hey guys, welcome to Tech Gaming Podcast, episode 18. That is weird. I mean, it's weird that we've gotten to 18, but it's also odd because we started.
Are you leaving that part in?
What's up? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening. I'm Bryan, aka Athemocracy, joined today with Mark Warren.
K9 Biskuts.
Find him on his YouTube channel. Let's jump into a new way to start this podcast. I want to make it a little more sort of streamlined, and then we'll jump into some random shit. But let's jump into the news. First off, this is really weird, right? I mean, Nintendo's about to release their NES Mini. It's going to be, I think it's $100 or $89. I can't remember the price tag, or $129. I can't. $50.
I think it was 60.
Gotcha. And they're about to release that onto store shelves in the fall. And we got this news that there's literally an NES emulator that passed certification and is coming to Xbox One in the very soon. It will make its way very, very soon to this console. I mean, it's very weird that we're getting that. It's like, okay, they're just going to go out, release it.
Sorry to interrupt, yeah, I was right. $60.
$60?
Yeah.
Cool. But yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. Like, it's like I feel like this won't last very long. If they make this a thing, this will not last very long, because like Nintendo does not like seeing their characters on their systems.
Oh yeah, no.
I do like one good example. I do remember there's a game called, ever heard of Marvel Ultimate Alliance?
Of course.
Originally they were going to have Link installments be exclusive to the Nintendo versions of those games. Right. But like the demos they showed, there's gameplay footage. You can find gameplay footage of like Link installments in the game. But the demo took place on a PlayStation 2. And so they
struck down.
Yeah, they struck down. Even though it wasn't going to be on PlayStation 2, even though it was going to be exclusive to Nintendo versions, it was still kind of like disrespectful. It was just like on a PlayStation. It was on a PlayStation 2 because you saw like the props were like Samus press X to like morph into a ball and stuff.
Right. I could see them just like, what the fuck? Yeah, so get off a PlayStation. Get this off.
Like Nintendo doesn't I mean, this is official. This is with the Xbox, it's official shit. So they don't want their stuff being emulated on like a console and Microsoft just selling it. I mean, because with the Ouya was just like some kind of third-party thing that really didn't matter.
Of course, so this is Xbox One. This is the second.
This is their competition. And then, of course, they're gonna want money out of that.
Excuse me, what's going on?
Because also, these are games still selling because this is their virtual console market we're talking about. Right. The only NES games Microsoft has any right to show is like Battletoads or any other rare NES game, but that's it.
Right. One of the interesting things that has gone around is, let me just read you a story here, because I had one and I didn't mention it, but let me give you the background here. So, a fan-created emulator, which is called NES Box, has been sent in and approved for release on the Xbox One console, meaning Xbox One owners will soon be able to access every NES classic through their Microsoft-made console. Nintendo, which has gone after several high-profile fan games as of late, has remained vigilant in making sure that its characters and properties don't appear on competitors' machines. However, while taking down a fan game is one proposal, going after an emulator is another. Distributing emulation software is shrouded in cloudy gray areas of legality, and not until games start becoming distributed does it turn into a bit more illegal stuff. So here's where it gets cloudy, because he's releasing an emulator. He's not putting out the games. Yeah. You can put your games from a flash drive into the emulator and play from there. He's just releasing the emulator. So that's where it's like Nintendo can if they want, I guess. It's
the thing is nothing's happening yet. So it's all we know is just an emulator. So Is it even called NES, an NES emulator? Or
It's literally called NES box. Because it's Xbox, NES box.
Well, they can do something about that. It'd probably be more apparent, once they start, once action starts taking course where people are actually playing, at least first-party NES games on there.
Right. That's, I think, where they start to draw the line. They're like, all right, that game is very questionable. But it all comes down to the fact that if people are getting their games not on the Xbox service and they're just going from their PC to the Xbox, plugging into their Xbox and playing it, I don't even know if Nintendo will be able to see that because it'll all be sort of an offline experience. I don't know if it'll be online. So that's where it all becomes into question.
I know, but Nintendo will know.
Oh, Nintendo will probably strike down on the Xbox.
They'll know that these people are doing it.
Right.
Also, they're not Microsoft's office. They're not monitoring this shit anyway, even if they were monitoring it.
Of course.
Yeah. It's just weird that it's coming around around the time of the NES Mini too.
Yeah, that's what's so odd about it, because it's this thing is about to release, and they probably will make hand over fist. I don't. Obviously, for the general everyday person, they don't know about this emulator and they don't really care. So Nintendo probably won't. That won't affect Nintendo in the long run. This will only affect the people that are full on people that know how to work emulators and go from there. So,
there's also a risk for you got something going through, you got this sort of thing going through, this sort of thing could possibly, if they don't do something about it, they could possibly catch on. We can get a Super Nintendo emulator or go up to Nintendo 64 emulator.
Yeah. I mean, that's the one thing though. You don't want an SNES box. You don't want an N64 box or 64 box.
Nintendo makes their money selling those ROMs $5 a pop.
Right.
I mean, and you can get on an official console now. It's they I feel like they can't let this sit. I feel like they won't let this sit for too long. I mean, it'll be a dumb business strategy.
Oh no, Nintendo has to go and do something. Now, next up, Xbox, of course, facing a lot of challenge going into this holiday season. PlayStation just put out 2 consoles, the Slim and the Pro. And we just got our first bundle. I think it will be probably the best bundle to go out and buy this holiday season. Battlefield 1 is highly anticipated. And we're getting our first massive bundle. Last year was Star Wars Battlefront, of course, with the PlayStation. This time we have Battlefield 1 bundle. It comes with, technology. It comes with an Xbox One that's in military green with a military green controller. It also, interestingly, has a lot of other features that we didn't expect here. Not only is the game there, like a pre-order game pack, but there's also a lot of DLC in this. There's 1 month of EA access, which of course gives you insider access to EA games that you can play.
The best developers ever.
From the best developers in the world, EA.
Sarcasm, yeah.
You can't go better with EA, man. But no, and it's only $349. You're getting a 1 terabyte Xbox One. And of course, remember, PS4 Pro is a 1 terabyte system that does essentially the same things as Xbox One S for $400, and it's also, like I said, 1 terabyte. So going into this holiday season, we talked about this a little bit. Does this interest you at all? I know you're not a Battlefield 1 person, but just looking at these bundles, looking at the price tag of both of these systems, compared to how they launched at $500 and $400, what do you think right now of this wide market?
I mean, if I had money to spend like that, I mean, in the way of if I had money, if I had like $1,000 on me and I had no other investment at the moment, I mean, I'd probably go for this. I mean, it's a decent looking bundle. Wait, is the Xbox One designed in any way?
What's up?
Is the Xbox One designed in any way, special edition way?
The only special edition, I think they kept it green. So the green is the only one that's special edition. That's the only way that it's special edition. I know that the more special edition design is the Gears of War 4 bundle, but this one is just like this military green color where, sort of looks like a helmet, a World War I helmet. That's where it sort of looks like. So,
oh, okay. Yeah, I was looking at your screen. It looks black. Looks alright. Green is my favorite color.
Right. And we're probably gonna see some Call of Duty Infinite Warfare bundle from PlayStation this year. So. I'd probably go for. I mean, EA Access, even though I don't care for. Access. It's actually pretty good. I was looking at it. It's like they have a lot of interesting games because you get insider access. I think you get the ability to stream or download games early, and you can pretty much demo how a game is for a certain amount of time, as long as you have EA access. So it's a really good program.
Yeah, there's literally no other bundle available. I'd probably go for this, but I don't know. Most likely I would just go for an Xbox One regular.
Right. Because of course the original, the regular Xbox One, which is the Xbox One S now, starts at $299.
Yeah, $100 less.
$50 less.
Wait, I thought it was $249.
No, they were selling the Xbox One, the original, for $249 until they ran out of stock for it, because of course they're phasing out the Xbox One original, and the Xbox One S will be the new premier one. Of course, Black Friday we're probably gonna get some. We're gonna get most likely $249 for the S on Black Friday and holiday season, because I mean that just sounds like the best possible option for them, and yeah, we'll probably see that in toward the holiday season.
We can get in the fucking store.
Oh man, that's the challenge right there. I mean, plus Amazon's usually a place to go online, but
until it's sold out.
But yeah, no, this console really interested me, because I mean, like I said, we really expected PS4 Pro, aka the Neo, to really blast everything out of the water. We thought that it was going to be a much more powerful console and that it was going to surprise us. But just like their conference, it was boring. It's not going to do too much. It streams 4K video, but it doesn't play 4K games.
No 4K Blu-ray.
No 4K Blu-ray. Sony's own 4K Blu-ray technology is not in their own box. I don't get that at all.
Maybe there was some kind of behind-the-scenes thing where Sony was like greedy for money, and like Microsoft's like, okay, we'll give you a quadrillion money dollars if you sign this contract to like put this. If we can put this in our system, you don't put this in our system. You're like, we're smarter than that. But at the same time, our fuckers fan base would just like buy anything we throw out, even if it has less shit.
I think that Nintendo. I think Review Tech USA said it in a very strong way. The PS4 Pro just feels like a half-baked thing, because the design looks half-baked, the technology is half-baked. The fact that they don't have their own technology inside of it, like their state-of-the-art technology isn't even in it. That's why it's like, what the f are you doing, Sony? What is this? But we're gonna see a lot more bundles coming in the future. We're probably gonna see a Call of Duty bundle, which we'll see just a number of games with bundles coming in. Watch Dogs 2 obviously is coming out soon, so I won't be surprised if we see something for that game. It looks like it'll be highly anticipated, so expect that in the future. But now, Mark, we've talked about this before with other games from the PlayStation 2 library. You said you've been really wanting an Ape Escape game, and I've said countless times a random PlayStation 2 game would never come to PS4. They don't really care that much for it. And then we get news that out of the blue, Hot Shots Tennis, a random game from PlayStation 2 era.
What the fuck?
It's not Ape Escape, but it is Hot Shots Tennis. Will be available on PS4 after their September update. I think that's on the 13th. But yeah, very interesting. We're getting just
bullshit.
A brand new Hot Shots Tennis. Just have you played any of the Hot Shots games? We had the PlayStation All Stars level that we saw.
It was Hot Shots Golf. That's the only exposure we had. That's our first exposure we had to that series.
Right.
No, I mean I played Mario Golf and like Mario Tennis, and those were made by Camelot, and Camelot made the Hot Shots stuff. So like, kinda, sort of, in a different series on a different console. Like,
right.
In that sort of sense, it's just like, nobody cares.
Yeah, it doesn't. I think
they know nobody cares. It's just a throwaway.
What's weird is just like, I mean, we'll talk about this in the future, because we have a topic about this where we're going to pay attention to old PlayStation games that need to come to the console, because, I mean, if they want to keep this thing lively, they should probably add some games. I mean, we're literally going to jump into another holiday season that seems like it won't have any games. Horizon's moved. The Last Guardian is going to release in December, so holiday, but not November holiday. I don't even think there's an exclusive this holiday season that I know of. Gran Turismo's not in 2016 anymore. So is there actually an exclusive? We were talking about some exclusives toward the end of the year and the beginning of the year, but everything's moved. So yeah. I don't really know if they have a holiday season game, but I think that I don't know if the Hot Shots brand is known all that much. I don't think they care, like you said. It's just a game that they can say, hey, we care about this fan base.
I don't know, maybe this is the start of something. I mean, how long?
I hope.
probably like PS4 is a better PlayStation 2 emulator. Because how was the? Cause I know you played Twisted Metal Black on PS3. I haven't tried loading that up on the PS3 gaming. But like, how was the PS2 emulator when you coming from the PSN?
I mean, the only thing was that controller scheme setup was odd, but everything else was down to earth and simple. It was pretty easy to understand. I had a great time with it. It felt like you were playing on PS2, sort of, because it was in 480p. It
probably like, I don't know, maybe PS4 loads faster or something. It's probably easier or something. Is it?
You said what?
I don't know. I'm just guessing, theorizing. It's probably easier or something. Maybe it loads faster on PS4.
Yeah, I mean,
like hopefully, I think this is probably the start of something. We may see more PS2 games on there. Right. Than we already got. Because we got a fuck ton of. We got like pretty much the good library PS1 games on there.
Oh,
it's
no,
like
yeah.
All it's left is like PS2, and like everything PS3 is already on there. So it's like he's got one generation to fill.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I mean, we've talked over and over about the remasters and the collections from PlayStation 2 that they haven't pushed over. The Infamous collection is literally the one collection that I don't understand why it hasn't been pushed over. I just don't get it. But we'll talk about that toward the end of the podcast.
Yeah, because when you think about it, this is like Sony's virtual console market.
They have so much potential here. It's very weird. It's very odd, but we'll find out what their plans are in the future, if any. But which leads us to the final topic of the news. This is weird because analysts have been predicting a lot of stuff, and analysts are the front face of what we expect for the future of gaming, and they can be wrong a lot. They can be very, very wrong. They can say, for example, at the beginning of this console generation, before everything launched, they said that this would be the end of the console generations, the end of consoles, that consoles won't sell well, that everything will die, and PS4 is selling millions and kicking ass. So they've been wrong before, and they were wrong again. Analysts are predicting, of course, the NX event will be in October. They predicted before that it'll be in September, but we haven't heard anything, and obviously if they were going to have a September event, we'd hear about it by now. And they're expecting PlayStation 5 to arrive in late 2018. So, both of these things, very interesting. I think PS5 really...
Interesting?
It makes sense. Yeah.
I mean, okay, to be honest, they both seem plausible. I mean, I can...
Yeah, it's like...
I don't believe... I don't believe them, but I can see it happening. Well, because, they've been wrong.
Yeah.
It's like... I mean, it's like someone's telling you... they're making a Star Wars Episode 10, they confirmed Star Wars Episode 10, you don't believe them, it wasn't confirmed.
Yeah.
But you can see it happening anyway.
I mean, it's like a no shit. I mean, no shit, it's gonna happen. It's just when. And, obviously the first one, PS5 in late 2018, this is like their best bet. This is it makes a lot of sense, because at the end of the day, if you really want to use our own brains and think about this toward the end of what the end of the decade looks like, Xbox One Scorpio is going to come out toward 2017. It may actually come out in 2018. We don't really know, but they say 2017. Hypothetically, it looks like Xbox Scorpio is going to be a new console. I mean, the way that they're saying how powerful it is, it seems like it's not just going to be an Xbox One. Plus, it's been so long that, hey, I mean, they have a slim. It's not like the Pro. It's Xbox One S is not Xbox One Pro. It's Xbox One S, and they're making it just like the Xbox 360 Slim, or they're marketing it like an Xbox 360 Slim, like an Xbox One Slim. So PS5 coming out in late 2018 feels just like the Xbox 360, PlayStation 3 generation, where Xbox 360 came out in 2005, and then PS3 came out in 2006. This is going to come out 2018. It's going to counteract everything where Xbox One will launch, I think. But this first year is going to be really affect Sony. Obviously, it's like they didn't expect Xbox to really kick off things so quickly, it seems like. So we're going to get this console hypothetically after, because you can't release PS5 the year after you release the Pro for $400. Like that just they screw themselves.
I just realized the sad thing throughout all of this, cause I do feel like the PS5 might actually be a thing in 2018.
Yeah.
But the sad thing is Nintendo is trying so hard to be on top now. So their NX, that's finally on the par with PS4 and Xbox One. It's just like now it's now last gen again.
Yeah.
So it's just you're gonna be they're gonna be like by 2018 they're gonna be sitting right next to the Scorpio and like
in the PS5
and the PS4
in the following year
dealing with the same exact problem. They can never catch a break.
What I'm glad about is that they're finally doing something completely different. So it's not just a home console; it's something more. PS5 and Xbox One, Xbox Scorpio.
NX?
Yes,
that's as far as we can know from the rumors.
But hypothetically, if it is a portable all the way, then at least that gives them something where it's completely different than PS4 and Xbox Scorpio and PS5, right? Because those are all going to be home consoles most likely. And this NX, if you can take Mario Kart with you, if you can take a high def Mario Kart game with you, if you can take a full on Metroid game with you, if you can take a full on experience with you on the go and it doesn't look bad, I think that'll bring a lot of people in. If they can get a lot of third party support, that's what they need, and this is what's really going to attract a lot of people. That's what'll sell NX, and I think NX has the potential to do that. Holiday season wise, like Xbox Scorpio will probably destroy them in the holiday season in 2017. Like that's hands down. It just looks like it because they're going to release a brand new console, and NX will be out in March. That's why I think they should wait until November, but they're not going to. But and then
what was it? They said I think they said between March or April. I remember.
Either or. It just, before summer, like, people have, I guess the further away from the holiday season, the better, but...
Yeah. Nintendo's known for delaying, so they're not afraid to delay whatever they need to delay.
Oh, please put it in November. Imagine that. Just, you have the portable option, then you have the most powerful home console, Xbox Scorpio, versus the most powerful portable console of all time, with your best experiences on the go.
The most powerful Nintendo console of all time.
Imagine that. Market it like that.
No, I'm just like, it's not saying much. I'm just like, we don't know what it is yet. It could be a home console. It could be both. I have a feeling like it's because it's getting Zelda, so I have a feeling it's pouring towards home. So it's like either going to be a home. It's either going to be a home console or a home and portable.
Yeah, because what I was worried about when I first saw Zelda was like, if it's coming to NX, I hope the Wii version isn't the better version. That was the first thing, but I actually think that the NX will be a pretty more powerful console. But 2018, 2 years out, 1 year out very soon, but a year and a half out at this point. So we'll see NX within the next year. We'll know what it is by this time next year. We probably both will have bought one by this time next year.
5 gig Xbox. 5 terabyte Xbox Scorpio versus the 35 gig.
Dude, that's the deluxe model. You're talking about the 12.
Shit!
The 12 gig original system.
Yeah, there we go.
No, but yeah, and so guys, that wraps up the news. Hey guys, if you're listening to this on Athemocracy, I want you to send me some questions, whatever questions you want. The reason why I brought this to Athemocracy is that I'd like more people to listen to it, and I think that the network here really enjoys my content. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to have you guys send me some questions if you want, about anything really. I'm also going to have another podcast, Cartoon Chat, which will be reviving and coming back on Sundays. So guys, sending questions at techgamingpodcast@gmail.com. That's again, techgamingpodcast@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. I'm Bryan and keep watching. This is Tech Gaming Podcast. Let's talk about console generations. Let's go to our first topic. Favorite console generation. I want to know yours. I was going to start off, but I'd like to hear yours first. We have 5th generation, we have 4th, 6th generation, 7th generation. Of course, they all go by numbers, but...
my favorite, I think it would be like this is 6th generation. I think my favorite console generation is like the 7th generation.
PS3, Xbox 360, Wii.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mostly because like the other generations, what I like about some of the other generations, they had more experimental shit.
Right.
It's just like for like the 8th generation, it just had more like fan pleasing shit.
Cool.
It's just like there's like just like a lot. It's just like the 8th generation was just pretty much all about capitalizing on what was good.
Right.
Instead of still trying to find something new.
Conformed, reformed, and evolved everything that had happened over the past 3 generations. Like, you know, since we got to that 3D landscape with the 5th generation, moving on to that, moving ever and pushing slowly. Like, I mean, yeah, it's a great. It evolved everything. It finally brought a great experience, and we see a lot of titles that really utilize that technology.
I mean, it had that dumb era where like the Wii was successful. Microsoft and Sony wanted to copy off it, and they made their like little dumb peripherals connect and PlayStation Move. But then like, you know, they started. Okay, well at least Sony started to ignore that and like, you know, just kept doing their own thing again.
They started going back to games, but obviously 8th generation.
Could you get like games that like you wouldn't think
you would get?
You wouldn't think you would be. You get games on the PS3 that you wouldn't think that would be like playable if it was on the Wii, but like for no reason you're just compatible with the PlayStation Move anyway.
Right. Just that was weird. That was the time when it's like Sony, come on.
They just made anything compatible with the PlayStation Move.
Yeah, wasn't it? No, God of War wasn't compatible. It was something because it was
Sly Cooper Collection was.
They kept pushing 3D TV. Sony was like pushing so much 3D TV and Move.
Oof, yeah.
I think there's like, I know Gran Turismo 5 XL Edition was the one that did 3D, but I'm trying to think of one game where it was like 3D. I know MotorStorm did 3D. I'm trying to think of the one that did Move and 3D at the same time. But I think that they were both at 2 different times. And I don't think the 2 games work or 2 features work together. But yeah, like talking about just evolving and really going into that generation. Like one of my favorite game franchises, Driver, had gone from really pixelated back into PlayStation 1 era, and then had refined itself graphically in PlayStation 2 era, but the story wasn't there. And then Driver San Francisco on PlayStation 3, great story, really fun. Everything that you really wanted all together, and it gave you this really great fan experience as coming from a fan of this series, right? So, I mean, you've had that experience with Sonic just from that generation alone, where, you know, there were some ups and some downs, but generally...
Most of my experience with Sonic was from the 6th generation.
Okay.
Yeah.
But some good stuff came.
Yeah, there was a lot of good stuff in the 6th generation. What a lot of people usually forget is, like, the 6th generation was GameCube... GameCube.
7th generation, I'm sorry. Yeah.
The 6th generation was GameCube, PlayStation 2, Xbox, and a lot of people forget the Dreamcast.
Yeah.
people put it in the 5th generation, but no, that was the Sega Saturn was that place.
Right.
Like the Dreamcast is like the 6th generation. So like overall, like the 6th generation was a really good generation. It's just like
you just love the 7th generation.
Yeah, the 7th generation is just like it. It's just like they just like kind of found their goal.
Right.
It like you like not only like were the games good, Nintendo finally had their solid gimmick. You know, Sony and PlayStation had their solid franchises and solid graphics.
Right.
And like
and third party titles were finally pushing to that level where it's like, all right, it's good.
And and you had like this sense of convenience because this is also a generation where we started to have apps.
Oh my god! Yeah,
we had apps for everything. So like, because like all consoles just had apps. I mean, we can finally play like just conveniently play Flash games, and like we can finally have games that just like stay on our console. We don't have to have
that
physical
ability. Multitasking, and then the opportunity to have the online and physical media is brilliant. It's also weird that the 7th generation is really in an odd place, right? And very odd for Sony particularly, because Sony and Microsoft particularly, because when it started, it was like 2005, 2006, and the world was generally what it was. I mean, it was not connected much. The internet was on computers. Everything was sort of like, all right, if you're going to go online, it's on computers. Phones were phones, not smartphones. They're just phones. So that was the world then. 2012, the end of that generation, everything's different. Everything's so much different.
Yeah.
Everything's like connected online. Like the world is literally like flipped on its head at that point. And like the consoles are still strong ecosystems. Xbox Live push through was really great. Really great experiences. Yeah, just strong ecosystems. PlayStation was that multitasking system. Of course, the funny thing was, like, I know that we were talking about games, but I mean, PlayStation 3, number one device for Netflix. So, just generally speaking, you have these devices, these consoles that had to become multitasking devices. Like, they had to do everything, which, of course, now we see PS4, Xbox One doing, but they had to do so much. I mean, I think the Wii even had apps, of course, and they were stepping into that.
Yeah.
And it's just like, this is where we're going, and the world is just so different in that one generation span. It's funny. It's amazing. I always love that about the 7th generation. It's very odd to look back on.
Yeah. One of the other generations I really like is so we got 6, 5th. Wait, 6.
5th is PS and N64.
Yeah. So wait, that would be the 4th. Yeah, the 4th, like the 4th, like the 4th. That's a 16-bit era, and then there's a 3rd. So like the first and second, the first and second is the one nobody should care about,
right? Because that's just the start, right? You're getting off the ground.
So many Pong consoles.
Oh man,
Pong.
Dude, have you seen that in 1 FPS?
Pong Model 2, Pong Model 3, Pong with color. Pong.
Jesus.
Pong.
Man. It's also weird just looking back at games, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
That's also like so odd. Like arcade cabinets ruled, arcades ruled. Just seeing that transition. Like, it's always interesting looking at different console generations and observing them. But yeah, 7th generation, I love. I had some great experiences on it. As I said, I'm a huge racing fan, so this was the moment when we really got to see some really composed games. Like, this graphical level that was really just like, all right, we're getting to the point where it's starting to look realistic. Of course, PS4, Xbox One, much more realistic, but we really got to that point where it's like, all right, they don't just look like they're blurry and almost there. They are literally at that point. Forza, Gran Turismo, great job. And then we got all these other experiences. Motorstorm was fun and destructive. We got to see destruction on a level that we hadn't seen because the technology was ready and allowed for it. So we had all these composed experiences, some great ecosystems. There's so much to love with that generation.
Yeah, like a generation I really enjoyed. I really enjoyed, even though
Don't steal mine.
What?
No, go ahead. I don't hear.
Even though I never lived in it, it's the 4th generation.
Okay.
With like Super Nintendo, Genesis, and well, that was the only important one. There was like Turbo Graphics 16, right, when nobody cared about. But like. I love that. I like that generation is so interesting because it was like I think it was like the most experimental. I mean, there was a little bit.
I'd argue the 5th is.
5th?
Yeah, yeah. I'd argue the 5th is.
Why?
Because I chose it. But no, I think that the 4th. I'm really interested in the 4th as well. I think that they did a lot of things that were like, well, actually, no. There's some wild games on the 4th generation consoles as well, but like. My God, it's and I don't want to say anything about the 5th. I'm going to talk about the 4th right now, because you brought it up. But yeah, there's like, you look at that span from the late 80s to the early 90s through to the almost mid 90s. It's very interesting and it's very fascinating.
Yeah, they were like trying a lot of things, and it's like you kind of like. I mean, if you put yourself in that mindset back then, it's like it is mind blowing of like the stuff they were able to like come up with.
Yeah,
and like they were doing there was like so many odd peripherals in that generation. Like, I mean, like there was a couple like in the 3rd generation, but like they really pushed up. They really pushed that. It was like there was like, so I love I'm a video game collector. I just like I mostly love collecting all these weird gems from weird gems from the 4th generation.
Hey guys, check out his intro video. So I'm going to link the video right here in the script. If not,
you can probably put a little clip in.
I'm just going to show the entire clip. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to show you this dude's
We can just commentate around.
Yeah, you also have a Facebook video. If you can, you should probably put that on YouTube, where it's like you just show your lineup of stuff.
That's an old video. Like,
but I mean, it's old, but still.
If you can find a way to download it, sure.
Gotcha. But yeah, you're a collector.
Yeah, I like I don't have like
you're a serial killer.
I don't have as much gems as like as like other nerds I've seen on the internet, but like
right, you have more than I've seen from anyone, to be honest.
Yeah, but like it's like I love all this weird experimental shit, and they were like messing around. They were like messing around with almost everything,
right?
Like laser lights, like laser, like like motion controls. I think like little touch controllers. I mean, like it was a ton of shit that didn't work, but like it was just like interesting, like the technology, like the what they were trying, and it's like it's kind of like set the bar for like what we have for the now. Future.
Yeah. But I would counter that by saying that the generation that I love the most, I think is my favorite console generation, is the 5th generation, because of the fact that one sets up so much more for what we see from this generation, or from this point on, from 5th generation on, we see so much that is emulated upon, that is followed up from, that is evolved and revolutionized. For example, GoldenEye it was on N64, but FPS shooters are everything now. But not just that. It's not just the fact that he evolved so much stuff, so many different titles and genres and all of that. It was so exploratory. We got so many different genres. We got so many different types of games, and they were all very much a fun time. We got to see so many new experiences as well, because of course the 64-bit era and also PlayStation pushing themselves with that technology. I mean, it was just a very new push. And also, of course, this was the first time when we got to see consoles really doing stuff that was other than just gaming. For example, of course, PlayStation for the original system played CDs as well. So it was like, you can play CDs and listen to music. First step, obviously, but we got to see just so much, right? Like, and it was so odd, and it was so unready. It was so like we were talking about the 7th generation, where it was like everything was just everything. Everything for the 7th generation was evolved and finally got to that point where it's like, all right, it's good. But everything started from that 5th generation of we're working with 3D and we're trying our best. Yeah, but and 64 does not. But
here's another thing I like about the 4th generation. Why I love it so much.
This is on my 5th generation, huh? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Why I find the 4th generation so interesting is because it's like the story of the 4th generation. It was the whole thing is just a race to see who can get to 3D, who can get to the future the fastest, who can get to 3D fastest.
Of course,
because Nintendo and Sega are just going at it Nintendo is trying all these new chips for their games, and meanwhile Sega's just trying to all these add-ons.
And then of course Nintendo trying to push with Sony, and of course they did.
And then it came out the PlayStation. It's all this cool stuff just happened during the 4th generation.
Right.
It's just mind blowing the stuff that came as I said before, experimental, set the bar for the future. It's just mind blowing all the stuff they came up with to getting close to that solid 3D era.
No, it's so weird, and it's so weird looking back at it. I mean, it's incredible. It's I'd love to see. That's why I love this question, favorite console generation, because it's like I always want to imagine myself going back in time to that console generation and being there to experience it firsthand new. I just want to imagine that. Some of these games, just brand new, blowing your own mind. This is new to you guys? And then experiencing it with the community that hasn't experienced it yet before. Yeah. I would blow my mind.
Dude, anything that will look, what I loved back then is, anything that will look remotely even close to 3D was mind-blowing. Donkey Kong Country, which is another average 2D platformer, but, the models, the character sprites, they look 3D.
Right.
And that's why it just blew up so much, because the graphics look so amazing.
Right.
Back then.
Man, they pushed, and I mean, one thing that we haven't talked about with any of these generations is the fact that portables really rose and fall from 4th generation to the 7th generation. I mean, we'll see if NX, but
a lot of people just keep the portable.
It's a niche market now, yeah. The
portable market is everybody trying to compete with Nintendo, then fall.
That's fun.
And then falling flat. The only people that were able to hold their own was Sony,
and so that was only because Sony was funding it continually. That's one thing. They never really won. It was just a battle to keep going and making revenue off of it. I mean, it's funny looking at the '90s and just oh, let's make this guy. Let's see Sega come out and fail. Let's see all of these companies come out with portables.
We got handheld. We got a handheld too. We got a handheld too.
And they all just fell because Nintendo's console was the place that had the awesome portable experiences that just couldn't be met. Like, just you really look at the Game Boy, look at the Game Boy Advance, you look at just the lineage of every single generation having. It's weird because like every single generation from the 4th generation up has a memorable Nintendo portable experience, and like you there's no experience from any generation to now from Nintendo that from 4th generation onward that has had a bad Nintendo portable experience, and that's just because of the way that Nintendo has worked so hard. They've had bad hardware from home consoles, but portable wise, they have mastered that to a T.
Yeah,
and that just shows you how strong they work in that category. And that's why, of course, we say over and over about how, if NX does come out as a portable, it will make money. Home console, we don't know, but they have a surefire hit with their hands with portable. As much as smartphones are nipping at their heels, but if we can finally talk about my 5th generation experience here, we've had a lot of fun with the 4th generation. I have to challenge back and say, well, not challenge back. It's just like, I have a lot of love for the 5th generation. I think the 5th generation is, it's my favorite because like I said before, we grew up in this era where like technology really is moving in this faster clip, where we grew up in this era where it's like, all right, PlayStation 1, and then PlayStation, like I said, PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3. And the evolution from those two, PlayStation 1 to 2, is fantastic, but we just grew up in this odd time period, and PlayStation 1 just houses some PlayStation. Sorry, I'm losing my brain here.
Well, one of the reasons I don't like care for that era too much, just because like one of my favorite companies, Sega, was just like doing so much shit.
Well, that's your fault.
It was just being complete shit during that era. It's like Sega Saturn, like in America, was a complete fucking fail.
But you did get Sonic.
Japan was doing fine.
You got Sonic the movie in that same year, in that console generation year.
That doesn't count. That's not a game.
It's the same.
It didn't inspire a game.
It didn't inspire anything. To be honest,
it was based off Sega CD game. Nobody bought the Sega CD around that time, so it was like, ooh, a new story, ooh, a new character.
Didn't help at all. But no, I really love the PlayStation 1 and 64 generation. I grew up on both. I grew up on the PlayStation 2, but I played on N64 and I played on PlayStation 1.
I grew up on PS1.
And I truly like the fact that there were so many different experiences on that console that really shaped the future. You have so many. You have so many. But you have so many. What?
Which generation? About 5th or 6th?
Goddamn, 6th, 7th, 8th, 5th. The N64 because the N64 for particularly, you got a lot of games that finally made their way to 3D. And are now, because of the way that they started on this system, like Mario Party, for example, started on the system, and however you may think of Mario Party now, it's legendary. Mario Party is a legendary game, and there are many different games from N64 era.
Well, the best Mario Party games are the ones from that era.
Well, very true, because I'd play Mario Party any day of the week.
I experienced like some of the later Mario Parties like that. I think
Mario Party 10.
Mario Party,
they just hand you the win.
The best Mario Party 1, 2, and 3.
I mean, they just hand you the win at this point. I saw 10. It just looks. Doesn't even look like a.
10 is dumb. 9 is dumb. 8 is dumb.
I am so disappointed.
Some of the GameCubes are okay. The 5th generations are better.
I am so disappointed. Anyway, but yeah, I had a lot of fun with that generation. Like we talked about earlier, I talked about earlier going back in time and saying, oh, I'd love to see this in real, and like going back and thinking about how it would feel going back in time and playing these games as someone that just like is in that generation, learning about it for the first time. I'd love to go back and see Star Wars Rogue Squadron or Racer or Crash Team Racing or any of these experiences, or Mario Kart, just seeing the fan reaction, seeing everyone get excited about it, generally seeing also the technology evolve, because of course we're finally getting that 64-bit era. We're seeing everything become crafted into 3D, and we're also seeing how 3D crafted the future of gaming as well.
That era annoyed me so much. Was like, because obviously like the important ones are the important ones. The Titans were 64 and PlayStation. Mm-hmm. So like here's the thing. The N64, it had the graphics. It just didn't have the space, or and the sound chip to like produce that good of like actual good instrumental music.
Oh no, the cartridge was the fail. It was the mistake of that generation.
PlayStation didn't have the graphics as the N64, but it had more space, and like better sounds. Mm-hmm. So it's like you gotta take either or. You couldn't get the best of both worlds.
Yeah, no, you're right, because they were just small. You really, I don't know. You look at, I still think that there are N64 games that have great scores, but
yeah, and there's great PlayStation games that have great graphics.
Yeah, it's just that, like you said, there's an either or, and that's the crazy part about it, and that really shows the difference between just going with a simple move to a cartridge.
Even though it wasn't important, also the sound, which is a 2D powerhouse.
What's up?
Even though it wasn't as important, the sound was just 2D.
Was this a 2D? It was just a powerful.
It was a 2D
system.
It was a 2D powerhouse.
Right. I mean, I can't really speak on that because I don't really care about it. But,
Sega was like the least powerful of the two, of the three. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I played years and years and years of. I mean, this was I'm not gonna forget, of course, PlayStation was launching. Like we forget that was the time in which PlayStation was launching, and N64 had all the right to really knock them out of the park. Like N64 had all the right to knock PlayStation out of the park and destroy them from the jump.
But I remember like Sony's E3 comments. They were mostly just attacking Sega. Like they just Sega put their price tag out for the Sega Saturn. I remember
that
it was
E3
like
conference.
It was expensive because because that kind of conference just like repeated over to the reveal of the 8th generation E3, which is it's a throwback, but in a coincidental sense.
Very coincidental.
Which is pretty cool. It's weird, but it's like holy shit. It's like deja vu.
Yeah,
like
it was like $399 Sega, and then Sony's just like $299.
Yeah.
Everyone lost their mind at that time. And then we look back to 2013. I haven't been more excited than that day. But well, I've been more excited. But no, very exciting memory. But man, that time period really just set the precedent for so many games and things of the next few generations, right? Like,
yeah, we
had so many different things and so many different iconic characters move in from this point and really set the tone. And
like such as Sonic.
Yeah, well, yeah, but yeah, we just had all these things just set up and move in a way in which, you know, I've had so many fun experiences with that generation.
Yeah,
and it's still my favorite childhood console. Like again, I think I was talking to you for Comic-Con. Like, yeah, I was talking to you at Comic-Con. I was like, a dude was selling a PlayStation 1 for like $15. I was like, I was debating. I'm like, I should buy another one. Like, I should buy another one. I have a PlayStation 2 to play PlayStation 1
Nintendo,
games,
Nintendo had some of the best first party games around that generation.
Oh, that was
and
fun.
Like that was also the generation that like brought us Super Smash Brothers.
It brought legendary. Legendary titles.
Yeah, one of the best fighting party games ever made.
Mm-hmm.
And like Nintendo had like some of the best first party titles. Like Sony had like all the best
third party.
Mm-hmm. Well,
like, we had
they were like in first parties back then. I remember
they didn't have they had they had exclusives that weren't their studios, but they
didn't own. Yeah, I think those IPs they didn't own. They would buy later.
Like Ridge Racer, for example, I believe was not. They probably were on N64. Might be. I don't have all the research on this, but
because I know Wipeout was on the N64 as well back then.
Yeah, that's what's funny. And now it's just the Sony made. Well, it was Sony until they cut it, but you know, I love all the different experiences that were on that generation. And just to counteract and go back to the seventh generation that we were talking about before, because that's your favorite. Of course, we had two different portable consoles that were really fun and a really great time. We had the 3DS, or no, we had the the DS came out in that odd time where it was before the launch, and then the DS Lite came out in that generation. So we had the DS Lite, the DSi.
Well, also you have like fails around the Game Boy Advance. There, you have the Nokia N-Gage, which nobody cared about. It was meant to be a cell phone and a game system that failed terribly because it had the power of a It
was like a flip phone.
It had the power of a GBA. Well, I think half the power of a GBA.
That Nokia thing where it's like you can play. Was it GBA games or was it what game? What titles were it? It was
their own games.
Okay, I thought there was.
There was exclusive N-Gage. Because like Sega did some stuff. They ported Sonic Advance to N-Gage, and they ported Super Monkey Ball Advance to the N-Gage.
Right, because they were like, you can play on this, and they showed you a demo of it. And,
yeah, but that thing was just nobody cared about it. Nobody liked it. So.
Right. Also, that was the same generation where Sony was like trying to. I don't know why they haven't dabbled more in this, but this was the same generation when Sony was trying to dabble into Xperia Play and try to push their games and make their own handheld phone game, smartphone. And I don't know why they haven't invested in this, because honestly, that if they really made a PlayStation phone, like a full-on PlayStation phone, put the power into it now, that had the power of an iPhone 7, and said, hey, you can play PlayStation 2 games, PlayStation 1 games, PlayStation Classics.
That's what I thought PSP Go was, but it wasn't. It turned out it wasn't.
We also
they were close. It was like...
But yeah, that was the same time.
And then you had the PS Vita that had like AT&T service. Like, so it's a phone now? Nope.
It was the same. Yeah, this was the same time when we had. That was a weird generation, but yeah. Of course, the last console to launch was the PS Vita. The PlayStation Vita was the final console to launch in that generational point.
Yeah,
and I watched the conference, and it's just like. There was an awful groan when everyone was talking about AT&T. Like the moment he was like, because he was like, we're going to use. For some reason, they were like, everyone was excited about it, and then they were like, and we're also going to have a mobile phone variant, a mobile network variant, and we're partnering with the most powerful service. AT&T. I was like, like there weren't many claps. It was pretty bland, and so very weird. Like it was like that was. I thought it was a very odd period of time because of course this was the time when Sony really lost some momentum from PlayStation 2. They had all the right to keep pushing, just like N64 had all the right to push over Sony's PlayStation. PlayStation 3 had all the right to push over 360 because Xbox the original wasn't a grand seller. So
also like there was also somebody who was competing alongside the DS and PSP.
There was the Nomad thing.
It was competing alongside the. It was another handheld competing alongside the DS and PSP.
The iPod Touch.
No.
Is it a brand that I should know?
No. You probably don't. But it was called the Gizmondo.
Was that? Oh god, I think I remember what it looks like. Oh god,
it has like almost the power of a PSP. Was some like there's a whole fucking scandal about it. It's an interesting story to look up if you like just go like I think like there's a couple YouTube documentaries on the Gizmondo. But like it's like Tiger it's like Tiger Electronics like their last baby.
Right. Oh, that crap. Yeah. God, that disgusting pile of... No. Yeah, of course there's no...
I remember one of its games.
You remember? We had this?
No. I remember looking up. I remember the name of one of its games.
What?
Sticky Balls. I'm not joking. That's the name of one of its games.
And put Sticky Balls in the title.
And it even had its own little intro. Sticky Balls! That one.
Oh my god.
Alright, can you pause this? You gotta see this intro. You gotta see this fucking intro. You can probably put it in there. We can.
We'll hear the voice clip. You guys will get to hear the voice clip. I don't want to. God damn, this is bad. Wow. I don't think there's a console that I've actually heard is as bad as this.
Sticky Balls intro. Intro. There you go.
God, this. This looks so awful too. Graphically, it's okay, but it just doesn't. What?
Sticky Balls.
Mark, I'm sorry. I can't. This is wow. You know what, Mark? There's that's something you'd probably find in this is some stuff that you'd find made by made by Seth Rogen and put into a Sausage Party commercial. Like in a commercial in the background, like one of those
Dude, I think there was another game for it called Mama Can I Mow the Lawn. This thing was stupid. I'm not searching
any more games.
This thing was stupid.
I'm not checking out any more of these games. No.
I mean, well, it was new thing. It had GPS and stuff. But here's the thing about it. The stupid thing about the console is, offline, it didn't connect to an internet service. Like offline, it would show ads.
Offline.
Yes. Before your games, before your apps and stuff on the Gizmondo.
Before smartphones ruled the world and they were ahead of their time. Good for them.
It would show ads. If there was ads just put in there.
Well, then again, that's a good way to make money for them.
And I think the thing was $300, but you had an ad-free Gizmondo for $400.
That's awful. These guys were trying to make every bill.
Dude, just look up I think there's a couple YouTube documentaries on the Gizmondo. It's an interesting story. It's how much of a failure this thing was.
That's really depressing. But no, yeah. I mean, both console generations, 7th and 5th, I think both really... It's really interesting because I think the 5th and the 7th go hand in hand. Looking at PlayStation 1 and 64 and Sega, and then going to Microsoft 360, Xbox 360, PS3, Wii. Just looking at those, that it's also weird because at that point in time, if you think about it, right, N64 to Wii, so different. And that was the first. First time Nintendo was wacky was the N64 with their controllers and all that design, right? We didn't even talk about the fact that if we look at both of those console generations, 5th to 7th, you see a really different time period, and I talked about earlier, where it's multiplayer is gone. Multiplayer is all localized. I mean, is all localized in the 5th generation. Today's standards, you go online. It doesn't matter anymore. 7th generation you find a bunch, but I'm saying 8th and forward you're not going to see that. But it's just such a question, so crazy.
I guess to finish it all off, talk about the current generation, right now, the 8th generation is it feels like it's the fastest generation we're living in, because right now,
are you sure? Because
it feels like that's what it feels like.
N64 came out, I think it was what 90.
I know, but we're hearing we're hearing about
Scorpio. Scorpio will most likely be the next generation. I mean,
we're hearing about all these next generations so early.
Well, N6, I don't think people are going to consider NX as the next generation. I think the NX will counteract that. But I think 2017 will be the next generation push. Right, that'll be the push to the.
Well, because this generation is more of it's a rate. While the 4th generation was a race to 3D, this generation is just a race to power.
I don't even. It's very weird what this generation has become. One of the odd things about it. One of the odd things about the last generation, and we'll go back to this generation, but one of the other things about the 7th generation as well is the fact that, and one of my favorite podcasters, Colin Moriarty from PS I Love You XOXO, mentioned the fact that, of course, the reason why the 7th generation was so long was most likely because of the economic downturn from 2007 to 2012-ish, which of course you could make a new console within the economic collapse. Because most console generations lasted about 5 years. This one lasted almost 10, and then we're coming off of that, and we're in this generation. We're coming off of the destruction of so many different third-party studios because of the economic collapse, and so many big businesses shutting down so many studios because of the economic collapse that we have some great exclusives and we have some great third-party games, but it's not as people say it's junk. There were a lot of junk games in the 7th generation, or there just were B-tier games. we don't have many beach games. We just have a lot of exclusives.
Dude, there was a fuck ton of junk games in the 6th generation.
Oh, that was the king. Like that's what I'm like. That it's like 6th and 7th generations, like, but mostly 6th. You're right. Where it's like you had so many different like games that were
that's mostly on half of that came from the PS2 side.
Oh, it was all PS2. Yeah, it was ridiculous.
No, GameCube and Xbox had a couple.
They acquired their fair share of junk mail, but.
Shovelware
and third-party titles, but we really lost a lot of that, and we also lost a lot of third-party titles to mobile. So we were in this time period. We're in this time period where we have a lot of exclusives coming out. We have the biggest third-party developers, Ubisoft. I don't know why EA, Activision. The biggest ones still producing games, but we don't have many of those miniature ones. And then we're starting to see the rise of independent developers that are starting to slowly build up. So this is a completely different, it's so different than what we saw 6th generation. 2 generations ago, it was so much larger with so many different styles where, third-party titles at least looked like console quality games. We have a lot of indies that are that look good, but they don't look like the standard of a PS4 level game because it takes so much graphical power to utilize the PS4.
Yeah, it's like and now it's weird. And we're living in a time I feel like because I feel like it's the smaller companies now that are being called indies because I remember because I know in the 5th generations indie developers wasn't really a big name or wasn't really much of a thing. It was just a company was a company. It wasn't really.
You had all these weird names. We had all these weird names that were starting up in that time period. Yeah, of course, the '90s where you just had all these weird names for different game companies and yeah. Of course, we forgot to mention Electronic Arts started in the 4th generation, I think, where it was just 4th generation, where it's EA started then. And so it's built up so much now, but
oh my God, yeah.
We're in a completely different time period. 8th generation, it's weird. I love the fact that we have, like you said, it's a chase for power.
Well, back to EA, I still got a fuck ton of sports stuff for the Genesis back then.
Oh yeah,
that was half of his collection. I'm serious, holy shit.
EA games.
Yeah. Continue.
Well, they didn't have EA games then. They had the old square, circle, triangle. That was their logo. Then they had the weird EA logo that wasn't the EA logo that we have now, up until I think 2000, 2001, where we actually got the EA games.
Just everything.
Yeah. So little off to EA, but
I haven't played any of their recent games. If I do, that logo better pop up. If it doesn't, then they better bring it back.
It's not EA Games Challenge Everything. It's just EA now, and the EA is just a boom, I think. I can't recall.
That's shit.
It's still EA. But no, that was the one thing about the 6th generation. If you wanted a giant overlord company and you wanted to know their name, EA Games Challenge Everything or EA Sports, it's in the game. You knew what that company was. But no, 8th generation wise, I love it. I love the way that it started out. I love the fandom around it. Everyone was it was so tense. Everyone was back. Everyone was excited for it. That whole the way that it started out, Xbox when PS4 went out and showed everything graphically and wowed everyone, and we saw the games and they showed the controller, and then Xbox counteracted that, talking about media and talking about TV. I still think that Xbox has a lot more to offer because they talked about TV and they still have that TV experience. People forget about that, but they still have the TV stuff and the fact that they have the Windows ecosystem and the Xbox ecosystem. We saw, of course, people talk. Look, Wii U. I think this was a lesson for Nintendo again to say, and of course this
it was people were getting hyped for it in the beginning though.
No, people were
because it was sold out everywhere. I mean, when it first launched,
people were hyped, but they were also questioning what it was as well. So this was a lesson for them in terms of marketing and in terms of their status as a game company in general. Is the fact that they're not the same as N64 status.
It did a lot of things wrong.
Yeah, they
starting with the name.
This was the point where they needed to learn the fact that, hey, this is not. You can't keep doing this. You got to change around. They have to do something now at X. But and we had a lot of great experiences from that. But the way that they started that off. But anyway, back to the PS4, Xbox
Okay,
One.
we weren't gonna end on talking down to Wii U
again. Yes, I was going to say the Wii U anger strike, but the fact that they had so much hype and momentum, and they really got people excited for it, and everything's been pushing so far, and millions of people have bought the consoles. Right? We've gotten. It seems like what we've gotten again. What is another.
I fucking confiscate my can.
What we've gotten this time is the same thing we got the 7th generation, it feels like. We've gotten just a refined experience. It's a more refined experience that has higher graphical quality. We have also new developers coming in, bringing new experiences, but for the most part, they're refined experiences and just new experiences restyled and redesigned. So in some parts, it feels very much like a 7th generation, sometimes it feels very much like the 5th generation or 4th generation, where we're getting new experiences, like Octodad, which is just weird. Octodad and Rocket League. Awesome. It's so weird, but did you
ever listen to the theme song?
Oh, it's stupid. Yeah.
Oh, I love the fucking theme song. Listen to the full theme song; it's amazing. Right. Watch out, Octodad! The Joker's in hot pursuit with a speedboat, and he's got to shuffle them. They're gonna make sushi out of you, Octodad. Run for your life! Spray ink in his face. Octodad! Oh my god!
Motherfucker! It's stupid. It's so stupid. But it's like it's so weird because I remember going out having this I guess new generation high from having new consoles and a new experience and being so happy. I remember buying my PS4. I pre-ordered my PS4 for Star Wars Battlefront. I mean, I say refined it. Okay, so here's the thing. 8th generation, let's get this out of the way. We have some refined experiences. We also have some new tactics that they're trying to pull. We have DLC and we have a bunch of software patches now, where they keep pulling software patch updates, and it's getting annoying. That's one of the main things. 6th generation.
A new game, put it in your system. Updating.
And update for hours because they don't make a finished product and then we have to wait for it. And that's where it's so annoying because they need to finish, they don't have the finished game and then they say, oh, here's DLC. That should have been the main game. I'm tired of this and it's getting annoying and they keep shoving that idea down our throats and it's limiting games and it's only with the big tier publishers that have lasted so long and survived the economic collapse. It's disappointing. And I really wish that they had gone stronger. Sorry, go ahead.
It's a way for companies to make to get more money. Also, it's also like a win give or take situation because at the same time this does give them an excuse to make more bigger budget stuff at the expense of just having more DLC out there to get more money back for doing that more big budget stuff.
Right.
They just they got a lot of money from DLC now. Also, DLC also help fights the rental game market or the used or the buying pre-owned game market.
Right.
Because developers don't get anything from that. So that's how DLC helps and
DLC pushes back.
Yeah, and also we're soon probably going to be moving to an age where physical copies of games probably won't exist anymore.
You know what?
And developers will get all their money.
Another lesson that we learned a lot from this generation as well. So there are some pros and some cons that we really never expected from this generation and really stink. But one of the greatest things that we should really take hold of and remember is that you always need to rally against a company that's doing something that you don't like and really is going against a form of, it's just really going against gamers in general. The way that they were pushing Xbox One in the beginning, where they were requiring always online, and they were saying you have to do online check-in, and you have to, and you can't sell used games. You can't pass a game to a friend anymore because you can't do that unless you have a friend. You can't do it within 24 hours.
Defeating the purpose of physical copy.
And you can't. Yep. And you have to do this. And you have to do that. And you have to. There were so many restrictions on Xbox One. Yeah. It was such a destructive thing for that console, and it's still destructive to them to this day. That's how bad it was. And so
even if they went through with that disc thing, say something happened to your Xbox, how would you know the disc you have, it's still yours?
Exactly. I mean, I guess it would be software based, but
it'll be weird. It'll be weird and convoluted.
It'd be so weird and convoluted. I can't believe that was their mantra, but that's the greed going back again. And again, this is how you have to go against these guys saying that, you know, you have to do this, you have to do that. And they tried to push that onto gamers. Gamers revolted, and gamers had the upper hand. This should be a real lesson about this generation. 8th generation almost had a console, almost had a generation that if PlayStation didn't do this, imagine that. If PlayStation didn't do the non-restriction stuff at E3, if they just went along with Xbox, we would have a generation that would be so much different, requiring online. But no, because gamers revolted against that, we have this experience. We still have the experience that's refined. It's not required. You have these new. It's a great thing, and all right, and I'm sorry, guys. I'm gonna have to take this.
Double feature.
Hello, welcome to the Tech Gaming Podcast. Who are we speaking here?
What?
You're on the Tech Gaming Podcast.
Hey, Maj, it's me, Kevin.
Oh God. Hi, Mark.
No, so we fooled Austin earlier. Hey, by the way, we're literally recording the Tech Gaming Podcast. You're going. This is your first voice cast on the Tech Gaming Podcast.
You're just gonna edit this out.
No, I'm actually going to keep this in.
Wait, can I do you think it's picking up her voice?
Yeah, because I have a strong mic. Yeah. Do you want me to call you back, or do you want to stay and just listen to the rest?
It's up to you. I don't care.
You want to just listen to us and, you know?
I'm making a lot of growling noise in the background, please.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna keep you here. But yeah, 8th generation, right? What were we talking about?
I think we're almost done. Oh wait, you were at Oh yeah, how gamers were revolting.
Yeah, no, because the fact that gamers revolted against Xbox One's launch, it really allowed for the ability for us to just take the console generation and shape it in our way, because we are the ones that are going to buy these consoles. Because we revolted, we really had the upper hand, and that just proves the real step that pushed us forward into this into what we see now. Of course, that's another thing. That's another negative. But we also have another positive. PSVR, the Oculus coming out.
Yeah,
we have this new experience finally after 3 generations of almost the same thing. Of course, it's getting more and more refined. Like we talked about, 3D more refined.
It was experimented and touched on before, but like now
Virtual
we're just
Boy,
yeah.
Now it's oh my god, how much beautiful.
I don't know why it was forgotten about for so long, and now we're just getting to it.
Technology wasn't there. That's all. Because imagine that the PS2 generation probably wouldn't be able to run great. It would be a lot. It would.
I think the answer is probably because it was too expensive. Because if we can make something with the Virtual Boy, we can probably make something like better. We could probably make something just better during the 6th generation.
Exactly.
Or 7th. But I think now the technology is evolving and doable enough to attach this as a peripheral.
Right.
For a fair price.
Oh no, because of course you probably couldn't launch this alongside PS3. If PS3 was $600 then, and they were still making a loss on it, you have to expect that PSVR at that point in time would have been an $800, $900, probably $1,000. Well, no, probably at that point 2006, over $1,000 sort of thing at least. So.
Yeah.
You look at the technology evolves, and we really have this point now where we're just at that point now where VR is really starting to set off, and I really love the fact that you can even use your smartphone as a VR device. You can really move forward with that. It's only $99 for a VR headset, so
yeah, you go back Nintendo was gonna add 3D to the GameCube, and that didn't happen. Then you go to 7th generation, Sony just stole that shit.
Yeah. I mean, they kept trying to push their Bravia TVs and crap with that. You don't have a VR, you don't have a 3D TV. Well, you can use our own TVs. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. You're a PlayStation gamer, right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But
3D compatible.
3D compatible. Yep, and they show the TV icon there. Yeah, man.
Or you can also play this on our Sony TMZ. Wait, no, not TMZ. HMZ.
Yeah.
Only available now for $6.99.
Or remember, you can also use our Sony Blu-ray device. It's brand new. Make sure that you use Blu-rays, please. HD. Remember, it was HD DVDs versus Blu-rays back then as well. So we've been so many different generational changes in just that generation, and then 8th generation really reacting to that, really reforming, and then also having problems. So 8th generation has its problems. I think it has probably the weirdest. It's the shortest weird time that we've had because I mean I don't think that the 6th or the 5th had a bad or had much to go negative on compared to what we have here. So you know, I guess that sort of wraps up favorite console generation. We had a lot to talk about with that, but I'm gonna make this a little shorter. This is gonna be simple. Topic 2, very simple.
Yeah, because we already talked about all we can about systems.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean...
Best and worst video game controllers.
What's up?
Yeah, best and worst video game controllers.
Yep, topic 2. Welcome back, guys. I'm just going to do topic 2. I'm just going to jump in like this. Welcome back, guys. Let's talk about favorite video game controllers and worst video game controllers. Dude, why don't you start off? Worst.
You're first.
Me first. Yeah, I forced you to start off last time. Let's start off with, I got to say, my worst... is the Wiimote. I'm sorry. I have never had a great experience with the Wiimote. It was the controller of a generation of elderly people, of young people, and every time I'm like, dude, this is a Comcast remote. Get this out of my face. I don't care for it. Just go with a traditional controller. I don't find it interesting. It's bland. It's smart. It's a new way to do things, but I really don't find it any more fun than eating a bar of soap.
Wiimote is my second worst.
Second worst.
Yes, I do like. I like the innovation. I like the idea and what that thing did for innovation. It's like there was a lot of games that like force you to use that as controller, and I really did not like that.
Exactly.
Like especially when the games there was games that forced you to Wiimote sideways. That's why there was a lot of those like Wiimote shells that for those games that force you to hold it sideways.
Right.
It's just a very uncomfortable controller. Also, I don't like it comes with a nunchuck. Here's the thing: I don't like my controller split in two.
Exactly.
It's just like so weird. I mean, also you got the problem. There's less buttons and stuff. Mm-hmm. So it's when most of these games a lot of third-party games, most controls just had to be forced in.
Right.
Whether they're fun or not, they just had to be forced in because this was the default controller for the system.
Yep, you gotta go.
Not a peripheral. This was a default controller for the system.
You had to program for that one device, one controller.
You had your regular controller, but it was sold separately.
Of course.
So most games didn't even bother programming the class controller or even the GameCube part.
Which made it useless for you to just go out and spend another $40 to $50 on a controller that was not going to be programmed for 9 out of 10 times.
Because there was a couple games that felt like they can control. They were a regular controller, but they were only optimized for the Wiimote nunchuck instead of the class controller and GameCube. That just kind of really bothered me, and even though later Wii's took off the GameCube ports at the top,
right?
Even in the beginning, for some reason I felt like just a lot of games were still ignoring the fact that there's a GameCube port at the top.
So I think that a lot of games were just required by Nintendo to say you need to use the Wiimote. You need to use the Wiimote.
I know a lot of games were using the GameCube controller on the side too.
I think that was a secondary option, and for a lot of people, they were just saying, why would we do this for both? We might as well just use one.
Yeah, it just got on my nerves. I just wish a lot more games would just use the game controller, and also there were some games that have the class controller option, but just not the game controller option. That also got on.
Yeah, coming off the GameCube, that was a really weird move. Really revolutionary, but really weird when it comes to controllers. You didn't say your favorite though. Your worst. I mean, you said your second favorite, which was the Wiimote. You didn't say the worst.
You said second favorite. I said second worst.
No, I said
Wiimote was my second worst.
No, because I said my worst was the Wiimote, and then you said your second worst.
Yeah.
And so what was your worst?
Nintendo 64.
Oh.
That thing is uncomfortable to hold. It's 3 ways to hold that thing.
See, I got used to it as a kid, so it's really weird. I just got used to the way to use it. That's why it's weird as hell. I just was conformed to it after training for years. And years
I like the idea. It sounds good on paper, especially like the little.
It does not sound good on paper.
Okay, never mind. It
looks like a bat.
Okay, actually, never mind. I'm just thinking about where the Z button was placed, because like it's placed in a way it looks like a gun.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, that's the only good thing about the controller. Everything else is just things.
By the way, you know that looks like the Wii secondary.
Yeah, it looks like a
nunchuck.
Yeah, yeah. That's all I was. Well, it doesn't look like it. It's just like that middle part looks like the nunchuck.
Right.
But that's it. I think it's just so fucking. I think it's monstrosity.
I spent so many years with it. Like I said, Mario Party, years and years of it. NASCAR 2000, years and years of it. Rogue Squadron, years and years of it. It has its flaws. I mean, the way that they put the D-pad, it's so weird. You put the D-pad on the upper right hand side. You have your analog stick in the center, and then you have the other D-pad on the left hand side, while also trying to put the Z button and the AB and the.
What the fuck is this?
And then don't forget, you have right and left triggers at the top. So I mean, it was literally like the most confusing controller of all time, but I just got used to it. So it's so stupid. It's so weird.
Oh my god! Like I tried playing the original Super Smash Bros. With that thing. Ew! I just I will only play that game on the virtual console with a game controller.
Right. Yeah, I haven't played. I didn't play Super Smash until I was on PC. Thank God, not on N64. But yeah, I just was so used to that.
A lot of people I know start playing N64 through emulators.
Right. I think that's probably the most popular at this point. I mean,
I remember middle school Project 64 was so popular.
Yeah. But let's start with our best, I guess.
Best. I have a couple. I have a couple good ones.
Just top three. Let's go top three. Let's go top three.
I guess I have honorable mentions. I have just ones I just want to mention too.
Okay.
Because I'm a collector. I've experienced a lot of controllers.
Oh, yeah, but you have experience. Go ahead.
Fuck was that?
Random dancing.
I guess number.
Probably reference. Sorry. Go ahead.
One of my favorites is the Genesis. It's just that D-pad is so fucking smooth and sexy.
That's the one that has that rounded. It's the rounded one, right? Mm-hmm. Oh no, that thing looks really good. I love the way
it's the one that's shaped
Yeah.
It's I would still even though there's all these Sonic collections, I would still go back to play my Sonic games on the Genesis.
Right. The loud keyboard typing.
I'm saying Genesis on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that controller. I love the way that's set up. It's so clean and so simple compared to the ridiculousness of the N64. I love the way.
You still listen to Maja? She did.
Maja. All right.
She went to sleep. Oh. Well, oh snap!
Well, I ended the call accidentally. She'll call back if she wants to. Tech Name Podcast continues. Genesis. No, that controller, simple, streamlined. Okay, we're back.
What? Three phone. Wait.
Welcome back. Thank you for returning to the Tech Gaming Podcast in the middle of a conversation. How are you doing?
Okay. Also, you guys said D-pad way too many times, and you sound like a bunch of faggots.
D-pad. What's wrong with D-pad? That's what most controllers have on them. We're going to explain that a lot.
Wait. Are we on speaker right now on your side too? Come on.
What?
Are you, okay, whatever. Look.
No, because she was talking and I couldn't hear what you guys are saying.
All right, look. Here's the thing, Maja.
Go back to your homework.
Maja, can we continue? Ooh.
Wait, do you have your own room or do you have a roommate?
She has a roommate.
I have a roommate.
Yes.
I'm talking to Bryan and Mark.
Well, yeah, this is the middle of the Tech Gaming Podcast. I'm not editing this out. This is just going to be some shenanigans. But no, the Sega Genesis controller, really clean, really crisp.
She subscribed to our channel.
I believe so.
Better be.
So she gets.
I am.
That doesn't matter.
I am. Oh, fine. Gosh. I'll just stop showing my fucking support then.
And
hey, it's not my channel. Oh, yes.
All right, back to the Technique podcast. All right, now the Genesis. It's good. She's gonna recall. I'm worried. No, but the. All right, what's your? All right, fine. Okay, all right. Fine, all right. She's just laughing. Okay, but no. Genesis. That's your top. That's your number 3. What's your number 2 and number 1?
Yeah, Genesis. I just like the D-pad so smooth. That's why I like the Genesis. Another one I like is the Sega Dreamcast controller.
Right.
Not because of the controller itself. It's just the VMU was just such a great idea. I love the VMU.
So brilliant.
And like it just a brilliant idea. Just like you get a little picture. You get a little cool little picture. Like on in the middle of your controller while your games is happening, it's
and
like
then you can take it portable.
You got a little screen in your hands, and it's like
such a brilliant idea.
And sometimes little things happen to it, and you get to take a little mini game on the go, a little Tamagotchi with you. That was like so awesome.
It was very awesome. Too bad it got destroyed by PlayStation 2 in the next year.
No, actually, Sony did try to rip the VMU off. Didn't work so well.
Yeah.
Like what was cool about the VMU, I think I showed you this before. They can like they can connect to each other. You can like trade and shit and play. It was oh my god. I wish I was like old enough into video games in that time period and like in that community where I would bring my VMU to school. Somebody else would bring a VMU to school. We just connect.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, the Dreamcast. I can't really. It's weird because you can't. It's so limited in audience, but it has such a big footprint in terms of gaming. Like just how legendary it is, and the controller is one of the reasons why it is so legendary. Not only because it just feels like a prologue to the 360 controller, but the fact that it has so much technology inside of it that just feels so like a random and out of like futuristic technology, right? Like I mean, the fact that you could do that portable ability is wild and. Unimaginable.
I know, like I still love the Dreamcast controller. I still love that little VMU in the middle, like I look down and do weird things. Meanwhile, I'm holding the wheel, like, will this thing ever turn off? Moving up.
Number one.
Oh shit! I was doing
one.
I don't know. Okay, 2 more.
2 more.
Sorry, I got. I've played a lot. I've experienced a lot of games. So there's like
30
a lot.
30 cents per controller.
The GameCube was a good one. The GameCube is a comfortable one for me.
No, that's also legendary, right?
I mean, yeah. I mean, I love like every button on there, with the exception of Y and X.
Mm-hmm.
Those 2 buttons kind of throw me off sometimes, especially like when I'm playing like games that have like mini games like. Or that are rhythmic, like, press A, B, X. Oh, shit, which one is what? Why? Shit.
They put that one trigger sort of, like, small on the side.
You're talking about the Z. Yeah, you're talking about the Z button.
The Z, okay, yeah.
A Z button, I was okay with the Z button. It was like, it was X and Y. I didn't fucking like it. It was like...
Yeah.
But, like, that was a comfortable controller, and it was unique.
Yeah.
Definitely it was... a huge step up from the N64.
Nintendo was sort of... It's weird, because like Nintendo was weird with the N64, but then they tried to conform that weirdness a little bit and tone it down just slightly for the GameCube, while also... What?
What? I wasn't looking at anything. You just turned that way.
No, I thought you were seeing some like...
I was just like facing that corner, and he was like, why is he facing that? What? And now he just like brought attention to it. I was like, and then that made me go like, is something over there? What?
But no, from that, the fact that the GameCube controller was like a little bit toned down from that weirdness, while also still being a very weird design, but also being a good design ergonomically, is just really special. Like it's weird that it's so weird, but very well done as a controller.
Yeah, and like my number 1 is Xbox 360 / Xbox One. I say that because I love 360 controller because I spend more time with it, but like I also like the Xbox One for the time I hold with it. Also, they're kind of the same thing. It's just like Xbox One is just like Xbox 360 controller, but more. I love that control. Like, I don't think nothing's really changed about it, to be honest, except for like some of the triggers and stuff.
Some of the buttons are moved, and then the triggers. Yeah, it's like that's it.
There's like extra motors and stuff, which is a nice feature.
Yeah,
but that's my favorite controller ever.
Right.
Because the design is so fucking sleek. No, it's like so comfortable.
It's one of the cleanest controllers that I've ever had, ever felt. Like I said, when I went to GameStop in 2013, I got my hands on an Xbox One controller. It's like, holy crap! Like this thing, like it feels good. It feels great.
I love the feels of the triggers. Like I love the placement of the bumpers.
Right. It's man. Yeah.
I mean, like speaking of Xbox, like Xbox was like weird. But like what I didn't like was like the black and white buttons.
What's up?
The black and white buttons. Xbox, the original Xbox controller for the original Xbox, it didn't have an L and R. It didn't have like L1, L2. It just had right and left triggers and black and white buttons. And on the other side, start and select. It was weird.
Yeah.
You can do you remember? Or you?
I'm trying. Oh, let's check it out. Let me just technology. No,
there we go.
Yeah, that was weird.
Yeah. What was cool? What was pretty cool about the Xbox was like the original controllers for the original Xbox.
Piece of junk,
that was like obviously based off the Sega Dreamcast controller.
Yeah, it was like they took all the tech and knowledge that Sega had made with the ergonomics of the Dreamcast and said, all right, we have a year and a half to develop a controller. Let's try our best. And they made it much larger.
Yeah. It's not a bad controller, but like, dude, that shit just looks fucking weird.
It's weird and it's way too bulky.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, it was Microsoft's first time in, but weird.
I mean, I'll get used to it. It's just like it's not really anything that's like grand or great.
Right. I mean, it's just the fact that, look, we've seen Xbox evolve their controllers, and they've done a really solid job.
Yeah.
And it's great because they've really become the default controller for PCs. That's how strong they've gotten and so much better they've gotten, right? Because they used to rely on third party in the 90s. It was third party controllers developing for PC gaming. And so now we have a point where Microsoft is literally the company that's behind the best controllers. Of course, we have a Steam controller, but generally speaking, it's Xbox leading the pack.
Yeah, that Steam controller looks fucking ugly.
It's weird, but
I'm curious. I want to see how it works. It just it looks fucking
weird.
Stupid. Yeah. Like a touch analog. What the fuck?
I don't know. But if I may, I'd like to finally speak on my own list here.
All right, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining.
No. All right, number three. I'm just gonna run through these. Number three, I don't want to run through them, but I spent so many years. Like I said, I love N64, but I can't put that in my top three. It's just not that. It's not great enough to. There are some inherent problems with that controller, like we talked about. That I cannot ever recommend that on a top three basis unless you really want to go through torture. But I just spent so many years, literally from the time that I bought a PS2. Up to PlayStation 3 generation ending. So that's literally probably 70% of my life I've played on DualShock. DualShock was life.
DualShock's in third place?
The DualShock 2 and 3 are in third place. Because realistically...
Was there a difference between 2 and 3? I know there was.
There's a difference. There's a grand difference. I'll tell you about it right now.
Okay.
So when DualShock 2 came out, or just the original DualShock to DualShock 2 to DualShock 3...
I know the difference with DualShock 4.
Realistically, it's a great controller for me. It's a cool controller because it's the controller of PlayStation. Realistically, you can't not think of this controller when you think of PlayStation because it was in PlayStation's lineage for 15 years straight. Where I find issue with PlayStation's controller is the fact that there are ergonomically features of that controller that are off. There are the buttons, the ABXY buttons, were not geometrically placed in actual distance. There are there are literally spaces that are not conform to so we have a picture right here, right? Here, let me give you an image, right? So I'm trying to find it. So the square and the X are actually closer than the triangle and O. That's the simple thing that they could have. It's like little small things. Additionally, the controller itself, after playing the DualShock 4, which is my number one, it isn't the grandest controller. I mean, once Xbox 360 came out, it destroyed any hype to the fact that or the idea that PlayStation had the better controller. But generally speaking, I love the triggers. Like, I'm sorry, let me go back to the good stuff. I love the layout. The triggers are cool. The analog sticks are cool. The buttons are awesome. Once you get used to it and you spend years and years and years on it, you fall in love with it. And I love it, but I also have critical things about it. Like I said, the button layout, the analog sticks are so close that your thumbs, once you're an adult, literally push into each other because they're that close. And that's really it. I love that controller. But, I mean, yeah, I love that controller, but the DualShock 3 is where I lost it, because Sony had spent 5 years with PlayStation 2.
Wait, so what's your order?
No, DualShock 2, 3 are pretty much the same. Just like you say Xbox 360, Xbox One is one for you. I say DualShock. So I'm still on number 3 here. And they had 5 years to work on PlayStation 2's.
Yeah, because I like the DualShocks 2 and 3 were comfortable controllers for me. Gotcha. Weren't anything too spectacular. But like it's like they were like whenever I played the PlayStation, they were like very comfortable controllers.
Right? No, they're comfortable.
And and they have they have one of the best designs. Like you see like PC controllers trying to rip off that design all the time.
Yeah.
But I really like what I really like about DualShock 3 is his 6-axis gimmick that barely no games used. It was like such a good idea. Could have even rivaled the Wii if they try to use it
It was a great. Yeah, that was the thing, right? Like DualShock 3, I love it, but I really hate it because Sony had 5 years to work on it and they didn't do much about it. They added a gimmick. The gimmick was cool. I mean, we played Little Big Planet before.
Yeah.
That's a really smart idea. It's really cool. You can bobble their heads. You can play around with it. It's a good time. They could have done
so much more with it. There was so much potential there.
I mean, here's the thing, right? Their first prototype was a boomerang. I don't know what their design team was thinking.
That thing actually released?
I think someone has it, apparently, I think. But it's an awful...
Pull a picture up. I want to see it.
Yeah, here. God, this thing is probably the worst.
Yeah, I remember seeing that thing before, though.
Alright, looking on Google, guys. Yeah, that's the boomerang controller right
It's all coming back to you.
And it's so weird, because it's like, yeah, you guys literally had all that time to work on the controller.
It's fucking creepy.
And, yeah, they didn't, it's just...
I'm legitimately scared of that thing. That looks so ugly, it's scary.
Right. But here's where it loses me, right? Like, they have the 6-axis, and they keep it the same way, which I don't have a problem with. Like I said, I love the DualShock. Like, I loved it. I played a lot with it. I know about it. I know every bit of the DualShock. I've lived with it so many years of my life at that point. When I first got a PlayStation 3, it's like, oh, great, they're still doing DualShock. Great. I can jump in, understand every bit of this controller.
Yeah.
They add the home button. The home button isn't, and the Star Select's still there, unlike DualShock 4 where they got rid of it and changed it so much. But the home button is there, makes it easier to get home. You already press it's the perfect spot for the home button too, because you already pressed the home button for the analog sticks before, so it literally replaced that, and it's like perfect. All right,
and it also makes things so much easier because like the PlayStation 3 had like backwards compatibility originally for 2 and 1
and 1.
Yeah.
So this thing was a backwards thinking and forwards thinking. It was a smart thinking controller. But where it loses me is how they really didn't put any support for the bottom triggers. These bottom triggers are awful. I mean
Slip.
The worst.
Slip.
There were dozens and dozens of times
when keep slipping off.
When legitimately, I would think the PlayStation 2 DualShock is better than the PlayStation 3 DualShock, just because of that one point. The PlayStation 2 DualShock does not have that because they kept the pieces. They kept an actual wraparound plastic design around those triggers. It got so bad that people legitimately made hooks for the DualShock 3, so you wouldn't
pull up the DualShock 2. By the way,
so people wouldn't just legitimately that's how bad it would get. So we get to this point where people just were. I don't have a picture of it front facing, but it's
look up DualShock. What? Google Images.
For what?
Just look up PS2 controller.
What? It's just it's the same, but like this.
That's the triggers though.
The triggers are the same exact thing, but with the bottom piece of plastic.
Just type it in. You can't fucking backspace and type in the goddamn 2.
All right, here. Congratulations, you. Oh, so the same one. There you go. All right.
Here we go. Okay, I got a better idea now. See, that wasn't so hard.
All right. See, look at that. Now, the best thing about it was this. See this curve at the bottom? They had a curve at the bottom so that your hands could play. Yeah. Could simply sit there, and that curve sort of goes away a little bit, fades out because they didn't put enough effort into making a flat-footed portion toward the front. So because they don't have that, they don't have the trigger portion at the bottom. It not only destroys the ability to sit the controller down while you're waiting for something because the triggers will just press down. It literally just it's a pain in the ass. It changed so much. I don't understand.
I feel like with the idea with the when it comes to like triggers, I feel like with the Xbox's idea with the trigger was a gun. With the DualShock 3's idea of a trigger was a gas pedal.
Wait, yeah, actually makes sense. That makes sense actually, but bad idea. As much as I love racing, but I'm gonna stop talking about DualShock 3 too. That's my number 3. Great combo, great ones. I have a lot of criticisms because I love them so much, but great, really great. My second is the Xbox One controller. I've played that before. I've had a great time. Every time I go to GameStop and play a demo, I just want more of that controller. I just love it too much. It's a great controller. The buttons are just right there. If I want to go to the home center, I can go there. If I want to go to a menu center, I can go there. The controller feels so much more premium than anything that I've ever felt before. I want a night in bed
with that controller.
Yeah. So it's a great controller, and I love it. I haven't spent much time with it. But when I have played Forza Horizon 3's demo, or not demo, but the GameStop, the kiosks at GameStop,
yeah, I
love every bit of it. I don't have any issue with it, and it's one of those controllers that I've never felt so premium before than that one controller. And then my number 1, of course, is DualShock 4. I love how you're trying to make the drum roll and I didn't even realize it. Like I could have just paused for epicness. But DualShock 4. This was the controller that we finally. We wanted this controller for years.
I like the idea of this controller. Cause I'm a man of I love gimmicks. Like
the touchpad.
Especially, well, I love I love gimmicks. Like mostly like mostly when they're optional.
Right.
But like but I like about the like.
Like when I can turn off my 3D from a 3DS.
Yeah.
You put millions of dollars of R&D for that.
Yeah, like what I like about controllers, like it deals with so many gimmicks, but it keeps it compact. Unlike the Wii U gamepad, where you got a fucking giant screen, and just like fucking makes the controller bigger. Like,
exactly.
Like
could have had the size of a DS screen, or DS XL screen, and we would have been fine.
Could have been a fucking DS.
Yeah.
Well, it deals with like so many gimmicks and it just like keeps it compact. I like all the gimmicks it has in it. It's just like you got motion control in it. You got like a little light up thing in it.
Light bar. The great thing about the light bar is the fact that the light bar not only was also the light bar was future proofing for VR. That's what's funny about it. They future proofed this device so much they put the light bar inside it for VR, so that when you wanted to play VR, you literally are able to the camera can track you. So they set that up years in advance, 2013.
Oh my god!
And then of course you have the one thing that they haven't really. I'm not going to go into that yet, but then they really improved the analog sticks. Those analog sticks, not only do they get distance now, but they actually are a little concave. They're not just the rounded tips that you got from the PlayStation 3 generation. You really got a much more premium feel. Like I said, for the Xbox One, you have a more premium feel, a much more ability of freedom. It feels like you're stuck in. Your hands aren't slipping off the analog sticks anymore. It feels better. And then the triggers, they're not they're not this crap. They have little tips at the end, so you don't they don't fall and aren't crap. they made the controller that we wanted and we needed, and then they added the touchpad. They added all these features that we also weren't asking for and are great. Yeah. It's a love letter to 15 years of PlayStation. It's a love letter to the fact that we've been waiting so long for this, and it's brilliant. It's 20 years of PlayStation controllers wrapped into one plus more, and I love that because it's just so PlayStation. It's not. It's just that's an iconic controller. I love it.
I know. You know what game will go good with it? That was the game that to test out when it came when DualShock, when the original DualShock came out.
Knack.
No. Ape Escape. Ape Escape. We need Ape Escape 4.
Right.
Well, because Ape Escape was like the game where like it was like all about DualShock. You had to like do.
You had to use those. Yeah.
You had to use both triggers both analog sticks for everything.
Right.
And I did a funny way of doing that. Like with the DualShock 4, like everything was cool about it. That touchscreen in the middle of the screen is just. I do find weird though.
Oh, it's very weird. The sad thing about it is I don't
really care to use it much or like using it much.
Yeah, they haven't fully utilized it. That's what sucks because I think it had potential, but they don't even use it for like. I think for text it's good, but it's not great. They don't have. There are things that I really think they could do better with that controller, but they sort of limit.
I see, like it gets a lot of use out of the PlayStation TV, or also known as a Vita TV, when it's like because it's a replacement for the touchscreen.
Mm-hmm.
Like which is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's smart. That's really smart. But that's also the I love the fact that
sound comes out of it too.
There's the sound side of it. Yeah, this is the controller that we've been asking for, like I said, because you have the headset jack, you have the speaker as well. So, the speaker really also helps, like, in terms of gaming, where it's like if they were going to say something about that was particularly for that game, if there was a certain level that you wanted to use speaker and hearing, and the speaker from that DualShock and that sort of thing, they could program it that way. Another thing that I really love is the fact that everything's, like I said, everything's evolved, everything's a lot better, everything's a step up. The fact that they got rid of the start and select buttons and it was anger and confusion for the first 6 months of announcing the controller, and then once everyone got their hands on the controller, it was gone. Everyone forgot about that.
Yeah.
Because the home button works so well as a home. We all knew about the home button, and then the share button.
I get the idea. It's like I wish they didn't have to rename it. It's just like so weird. What? The options button and share button. No, the share button makes sense.
The share button isn't because this isn't start and select anymore. I mean the select button, I guess you could say, is share, but hypothetically the share button is a share button, and the share button works so well, and it does a great job, and I love the fact that don't have to call on anything else, makes it easy, you can understand it, simple as that. The options button, you go into it. What the fuck? I can't even. Okay, I wish I could remember, but because I don't have my PS4 anymore, so the options button. There are particular options with the options button. I believe that's either the options button is either the new start or pause, or it's not. I can't recall. It's been so long, but it's the options button has sort of become the start button in many cases. But but it'd be weird to call it start because of the fact that because the PS button is basically the starting for your console, so you can't call it start, you call it options, because options is just the programmable button for whatever the game wants it to be. So
I just found it weird. It's like, well, then again, I did deal with minus and plus, but like still,
right?
I still call those start and select.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I just feel like this thing what the Wiimote party should have been. The highlight I do remember is like my friend was just playing Dead or Alive on his PS4, and like he was playing the game, and he can shake the controller up and down while he's playing the game. When he shakes the controller up and down, he jiggles the boobs.
Right.
And it's funny as hell. This controller is gimmick paradise. I love how gimmicky this controller is.
Right. So yeah, favorite controllers. Do we want to go into topic 3?
Is it topic 3? I thought we were done.
Just PlayStation. Well, we can talk about this next week.
Yeah.
I think we've talked for literally 2 hours. 2 hours at this point.
Also, like, I just want to mention, bring the fact that, like, the funny thing is, like, Nintendo, like, it just recently expired, for so long, Nintendo had, like, a patent on their D-pad, and it's, like, the reason why, like, a lot of other controllers, like, third-party controllers, or some even Microsoft's controller have, like, shitty D-pads.
Right.
For, like, the longest time.
Oh, now they can actually make a controller that's finally has the greatness of a Nintendo D-pad.
Yes.
Good. Because Nintendo hiding that shit is annoying.
Yeah.
It's smart for them, but good.
Yeah.
All right, guys, this has been Tech Gaming Podcast.
Sticky balls!
I'm Bryan Swan, a.k.a. athemocracy.
A.k.a. Sticky Balls.
That's your account.
No.
Find me on YouTube,
Probably to give me another YouTube channel you're going to make.
YouTube, Twitter, Facebook. And then find Mark at youtube.com/stickyballs.
I was going to say that. No, youtube.com/K9Biscuits. I'm K9 Biscuits.
And thanks for listening.
Or Blasting Turbo Ports. Log out, everybody.
All right. Thanks for listening.